Go ahead and take Elizagirth off the screen there. Who's taking this jar with the metal dragonfly in it?
I mean, that's 100% going into my bag.
Okay.
Also, is there any way I could get the gold off of Raazu's boot with my Tinker's kit?
Provided that you and Raazu do not take a long rest tonight, you could work through the night and complete this task.
All right.
I feel like he should be able to do it at double speed because he's a kobold stripping the gold plating off something.
How do you know that isn't double speed? Normally it takes 2 nights.
Stop helping, Nodal.
Yeah, it's difficult work, but if you work throughout the night, and I mean Raazu can't get a rest either because she's twisting and turning her leg around in uncomfortable positions.
Trying to whip me while I work.
Right. So everybody take a long rest except for Raazu and Birdie, but the 2 of them can take a short rest if they like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long rest, yes, please.
And what's the plan for the next day?
I have no clue because I don't know what we're doing.
Well, we're still looking for this dragon's hoard, yeah?
I was right in the middle of my...
How long do you spend searching for this dragon's hoard in the area?
Brick.
Yeah.
During the long rest, I'm gonna spend it recharging the Stone of Legend lore.
Okay.
Because I want to... Excuse me, because I want to burn it touching that dragonfly.
To do that, you'd have to release it from the jar.
Do you have like a bag, Birdie, that we can transfer this back into?
Yeah. We put it back in the same bag, and then you can just stick your hand in it. Hopefully it doesn't bite.
Well, if it bites, we'll learn what it's good at. Maybe biting.
So, yeah. I'll transfer it over to the bag and hand it to Wendy.
Okay.
I do want it back, though.
I mean, it is a giant bug, and she's a bird, so there's an excellent chance she's just going to eat this thing.
I'm having second thoughts on giving it to her now.
Wendy, you expend legend lore from the spellstone into the dragonfly as you reach in and touch it. And you receive a very clear vision of a dark and drafty room, kind of cavernous in structure and dome shaped with many, many windows around the top. And when I say windows, I don't mean like glass panes. I mean, they're just open windows without doors. And there is a very loud buzzing in this room, just this din, this drone. In the center of the chamber, there's what looks like a kind of circular counter. And there's a pillar in the center from which grows many metal limbs, dozens of them, with hands on each end, with deft little fingers. And at any time, some large number of these limbs are working, writing out messages in quill, rolling up, and then placing these scrolls into what look like cylindrical holes in the floor beyond the counter. And they work tirelessly, and every so often, one of these metal dragonflies will fly into the room, and a hand will reach up, and the dragonfly will land on it, and you'll see the pinpoint of light in its face blink rapidly in a very deliberate pattern. And then the hand will let the dragonfly go, and it will fly to one of the walls where you see numerous tiny little cubbies. And then that hand will take a quill and write something out. You see the reverse as well. You see one of the hands reach up and hold out, and a dragonfly will come out of a cubby and land on it. And you see the blinking pattern. Then the hand releases it, and it flies out of the open dome in the ceiling. And you watch this little pattern repeat in this same room with these hands working tirelessly for as long as you care to.
Alright, I'll come out. And I'll explain the vision to the others. And then I'll say, so we better make sure this thing doesn't get away, because it looks like it'll tell whatever it was talking to there.
Back in the jar.
So you empty the dragonfly back in the jar. And as soon as you get the jar back on, it starts to unravel a little bit and flit its wings, and realizes it's still trapped, and then curls back up.
Birdie sticks his tongue out at it.
It doesn't seem to notice.
So you're concerned it's going to put something on our permanent records.
Mm-hmm. And those last forever. That's what makes them permanent.
So how long?
What's the deal with this molten massive, previously molten gold?
It's immovable now. I mean, it's still this mass, but now it's kind of bored down into the earth. And anybody who attempts to carry this is going to start incurring exhaustion. The mass of gold seems to be a lot larger than could have fit in his little coin purse.
Also, it's probably demonic.
Why don't we let?
True.
Why don't we let? What's his name?
No.
What?
No.
You don't even know what I was gonna say.
No.
No, we did know what you were going to say.
No, you didn't. I was gonna say, why don't we let him, like, dig it up and carry it with him when he goes back down to the thing.
No,
We had that one.
Yeah.
Yep, we had it in one. Thank you.
Everybody guessed it. How long, in terms of days, do you guys spend on the plateau searching for this silver dragon's hoard?
I would say probably
3 days?
3 days?
Yeah,
How long
I think
would it take us to cover the whole plateau? Like, make a couple of...
3 days sounds about reasonable. If you set this up
Okay.
as your base camp and return here at night for a long rest.
yeah.
Okay. I'll let the group make an investigation check. This is a group effort, so one person can make it at advantage.
I think I should roll this one.
Red, roll the dice.
This is not an advantage.
This is an advantage because all of you are
Okay.
taking on this task together.
Don't fuck it up, Brad.
This is a +8. 17.
Okay. In 3 days' time, you don't find anything that you think would lead to the dragon's hoard. As you're searching, it becomes apparent that the silver dragon must not have nested here. And thinking about it, when Adrex told you it would be strange to see one of these creatures this far south, you're very, very far away from where the Lord of Blades resides. You figure that this metal man must have been tracking the silver dragon and caught up to it at this position. Where the dragon came from or where it was heading, you couldn't say, but you've managed to confirm that its lair is not in these hills.
So I have one last idea.
Yep.
Birdie, if you want to go first.
I was just gonna say, let's start, like, taking bits and pieces off the dead dragon.
Why?
Why?
I don't know. Dragon parts are worth things.
Are they?
Who would you sell them to?
I don't know. I was gonna, like, take the claws and make daggers or something. I don't know.
We're in the middle of fucking nowhere, Birdie.
We could try legend luring the dragon.
That's
Ooh.
not a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm curious enough to do that. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, since we're up here for 3 days, might as well do it at one of our long rests during here.
Who's doing this spell?
Oh, I'm doing it.
You're doing it? Okay. You become privy to a conversation. You don't get any kind of visual information this time. Does Wendy speak Elvish?
No. Can I make a wisdom check to try to memorize it?
Go ahead and make a wisdom check.
All right, that's a 17.
Memorizing it is probably impossible because
Uh-huh.
Elvish is kind of a very fluid and very fast language. But listening to it, you have an intuitive understanding of what the words say, even though you can't understand what's being said.
Neat.
The two people conversing, one, you recognize the voice and intonation immediately as a drow. The other you hear is definitely an elf speaking, but it doesn't sound like a drow. And again, you have an intuitive understanding of what this person's saying. You also have this intuitive understanding that this person speaking is this deceased silver dragon in an elven form. What they're discussing is that more and more of the Lord of Blades soldiers have been encroaching on their territory, and they've had to give up ground. That many of their slaves have been taken or killed. And the elf, which is to say the dragon, says, pray for guidance. Take 48 hours and sit in prayer. I will go and fact find. He's going to go out and scout, try to find where their vanguard is. You get the sense that this drow that's speaking doesn't realize he's speaking to a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the last time these people spoke. And when you snap back, you feel the pain in your wings and in the intense fire along your neck and chest. For just a few moments, you feel all of the injuries this dragon suffered when he finally came upon this metal soldier. And you have this feeling of victory, and you realize that there were more than one soldiers, and the dragon has killed some number of them.
I'll relay that to the group. And I'll say that this is starting to sound like something we need to look into.
Okay. Where do you did your vision give any kind of insight as to where we might need to go for that?
I don't know, Brick, did it?
No, you weren't able to see anything. You do know that the dragon was speaking to a drow, and you only know that because you've met many drow and heard them speak. You can understand their intonation. Both of the voices were male.
All right, and then I'll maybe somewhere in the Underdark, maybe, presumably, considering they're expanding outwards, this would be to the outside of where you would normally find these metal soldiers, Adrex.
Huh?
And so where are we currently?
Right now you're in the plateau, up here, in this area.
So I'll just kind of like think to myself a bit, and then I'll be like, it's possible that we'll keep encountering them. I think we're going to stay roughly as far away from the north as we travel northwest. Maybe by the time we get there, this red dragon will have encountered them too.
I have a complaint about this plan.
Yeah.
These things killed a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
We are not dragons.
Hey,
Reynolds is
You're
gonna
like
give
a
Adrex a look.
dragon.
come on.
I feel like between the two of you, we've almost got a whole dragon.
We've got like
Don't
a
encourage
3/4 dragon.
What are you?
Yeah, that adds up. I think we got about half a dragon in Adrex. I think we've got a quarter of a dragon in Birdie.
We're still about 25% down on dragon. And they killed a dragon. So
That was a bunch of them.
I have a breath weapon. I
Birdie
want to
pat-
use it.
Birdie pats him on the knee. Of course you do.
Adrex kicks Birdie.
So what's next?
Let's keep heading northwest, but I think we want to be watching out for these metal men,
Okay.
metal boys.
What's your next destination after you leave the plateau and head along the river up towards Titan's Spine?
I guess we're pick up Adrex's swords.
Okay. That's going to require you to camp out for a little while because he did tell you X amount of moon's turns. So, yeah, if you want to spend a week or so downtime out in these woods, you can be at the correct spot at the correct time.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can spend the intervening time hunting for some of these metal things, see if they've gotten any closer.
And you don't find any in the woods around. I mean, you find lots of traces of, especially as you cross through the foothills of the Titan Spine, you see lots of traces of the 1,000 arrows, the orcs that you implanted there, defending their borders from other encroaching orc tribes and other denizens of the forest. But no signs of any middle men, and no more signs of any dragons for that matter.
I wonder if those orcs are still alive.
Adrex.
Hmm.
The night that Severus agreed to make payment to you, when you arrive at the spot, when the full moon is directly overhead, and Severus steps sideways through the door of the Feywilds, and he's holding a very ornate box that, to your delight, looks to be about the size of a hand-and-a-half sword.
Adrex is not known for wagging his tail, but it looks like he is.
Is that what Adrex thinks?
Yes, that's what Adrex thinks.
He tells you that there was a great hero, a great sylvan warrior, a slayer of beasts and monsters who served courageously in the courts of many queens, and that he bore into battle a fantastical flaming sword that he could ignite and extinguish with but a word. And he says that it was with great difficulty that he managed to locate this artifact, but that he is delighted to entrust it to you as payment for the good you have done him in his house. And he places this polished wooden box on the ground at your feet.
That hero sounds badass.
He
What?
he nods. He's in a manner of speaking. Not quite as crude as we would put it.
Birdie peeks out from behind Adrex and goes, "What is the magic word to make the sword do its thing?"
Whoosh.
He tells you that when you bind yourself to this weapon, the word will make itself known. He personally does not know it because he has not done this.
Birdie looks up at Adrex and goes, "Let me know if it's something weird like nipples." And then he hides behind him again.
And with that, Severus bows very deeply. Says, "Payment has been rendered, and our business is concluded. And I wish you luck, sir."
Thank you so much for this. This is so exciting. Oh, I can't believe you did this.
And then he steps sideways again out of view.
Adrex kneels down and opens the box.
And inside is a red metal, it looks like a claymore, sized for a very small fairy. It would be a dagger to your hand.
Ah. All right.
And you
picks it
pull
up.
out this dagger, and it doesn't feel like a dagger because it is literally a very small claymore. Like a fairy barbarian could wield this weapon.
What's in the rest of the box?
Just padding.
I remember one time when I was when Chrono Trigger came out I got it for Christmas. It was stuck in one of those big old clothing boxes that parents always give you clothes in.
I once got concert tickets like that.
What happened right here.
Yeah, I got a giant, like, refrigerator-sized box that was weighed down with other smaller boxes and concert tickets just pasted to the bottom.
Brooklyn, I want you to know that you're my hero.
But yeah, I mean, you pick up this dagger, and you can attune to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is a flame tongue. So it has the stats of a dagger. You know, I'll let you pick the magic words, but it costs a bonus action to ignite it. When you do it, it gets set on fire with all that comes along with. Deals extra fire damage. And it can be extinguished using all bonus action as well. So it's a 2d8 extra fire damage after you've spoken the word and you strike with it. Now, this is literally the weapon that I've chosen for my Tabashi Rogue. And so his magic words are... And... Adrex, you are carrying a lot of weapons at this point.
Yeah, it really is.
So the dagger, it has like a scabbard as well, like this miniature claymore scabbard that would be strapped to the back of a Sylvan barbarian, but would fit nicely along your belt pouch.
Cool.
Well,
Adrex wants to try it out. He wants to ignite it in front of everybody.
So you got to spend an hour attuning to it before it'll work that way.
All right.
Can I have it instead? It's too small for you.
Wow.
Red just glares at Birdie.
Yeah, Raazu
This
is
is-
glaring at me as
This
well.
is Adrex's dream come true.
I mean, not really.
I have to hand it to you, Adrex. That's probably worth. That's a nicer dagger than my entire collection combined.
Yeah, you've attuned to this dagger, and you speak the word, and the red metal starts to spit flame, and it becomes very hot in your hand. It's like holding the edge of a torch.
Adrex is like,
red light too.
flame on.
It does give off light, yes. It's fire. And it will
Awesome.
ignite stuff. It's just like having
I
a
am
torch.
now. Adrex says, "I'm now the most badass member of this party." And now he's like turning it on and off like it's a light switch. It's igniting and then cooling and then igniting and then cooling again, and he's just staring at it amazed.
And I mean, when you douse the flame, I mean, it doesn't cool off immediately. The metal is still red hot.
That's not gonna stop Adrex.
Okay, how long do the rest of you allow this to go on before it's time to continue?
I figured it'll take at least a week before the novelty wears off.
All right, Adrex. Though, when we go to bed for the night, can I touch it for like a minute or like 10 minutes?
You know what?
Sure.
You know what just occurred to me, Adrex? This is the perfect like knife to make toast with.
So, Wendy, are you trying to like legend lore the dagger?
Yeah, and like Wendy has been going off by herself for a little bit each night, and you're starting to suspect she's developing a crippling legend lore addiction.
And it's really hard to get a good read on this dagger because you put your hands on it, and then Adrex ignites it, and you're like, "Ah, fuck! Stop it!"
Raz is the one who's carrying around the opium. Like, let's be real here.
No, and legend lore
Yeah.
confirms the story that Severus told. You get the story of this little fairy and he wields it like a claymore, like a Conan the Barbarian sword. And it confirms the story that Severus told you. He slayed many monsters. I mean, a monster to a little fairy. I mean, like, particularly feral badger or something.
Brick Road, like out of character, I want to know how smug is this fairy guy feeling right now?
You did take note that he got out of there before Adrex opened the box.
Which was pretty fast because he opened that box real quick.
So the one thing before the first night of camp, Wendy, we really need that sand bucket.
That's true.
Presentation plate again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
PowerPoint
here's the
again.
thing. A forest is like a pre-boat.
So, Adrex, should we just roll a d20 every long rest to see if Adrex just murmurs the magic word in his sleep and sets the whole camp on fire?
No, because Adrex is hugging it while he sleeps.
So he
if
would wake
mutters-
up.
Yeah, he would.
We're
if he
lighting
mutters,
this up on fire.
yeah.
What I'm liking is I'm liking the image that the holster probably doesn't fit anywhere except around Adrian.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a wrist holster.
Yeah.
So my last question then, is Adrex referring to this dagger as a dagger, or is he calling it a sword?
This is very clearly a sword.
It is
It is a sword.
technically a sword.
Adrex referred to it as a sword, I think.
Like, fear my flaming sword. He just pulls out a little twink.
2d8 damage is nothing to laugh at, though. Let me
No,
tell you.
it's
No, no, it really isn't. Can't wait for him to crit with that thing. That's gonna be amazing.
Especially when you play a goddamn Tabashi rogue that can sneak attack with it. That's even better.
I actually kind of prefer the fighter that can make attacks with it.
Yeah, multiple attacks per round, I think.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be. I mean, that adds up to the number of dice that you get out of a sneak attack.
Yeah, you're super good because you can just use a big weapon in your other hand now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could already do that because of his fighter abilities.
Right. There isn't a big downside to using a dagger because he still has effectively the slot for the big weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a dual wielding.
Thinking mathematically.
Dual wielding feat.
Yeah.
And there seems to be this assumption that Adrex is going to be mad about this, and I don't think you know Adrex if you think he's going to be mad about this.
Yeah, like the fairy is watching through this like puddle every night and is just super disappointed. Like, come on.
But yeah, here you go, Birdie, and Adrex will give the not bone scimitar and the not bone short sword.
So true story. Hand to God. This is true. I was very young. We're like 7, 8, maybe 8 years old. And I asked for a Nintendo for Christmas. And I was not getting a Nintendo. We didn't have the money for that. What I got was the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch. And I fucking loved it for years.
The Game & Watches weren't bad for the time.
I mean, it was just as good as good. Because everybody had a Nintendo. I was the only motherfucker with the Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch, let me tell you. And then you guys continue on into the Ten Salt Mountains. Were you going to stop off at the Titan Spine? Stop off at the...
Yeah, I wanted to see how that orc encampment is shaping up.
Okay.
I gotta make adjustments to my character sheet.
And I mean, you make connections, or you make contact with some of their outriders first. I mean, obviously you're not going to skulk up to their doorway and... the outriders recognize you. And they bring you in as friends. And yeah, the orcs have pretty much taken control of the dam and its surrounding forests. They've reinforced a lot of the areas. And as far as you can tell, they are thriving in this position.
Okay.
And the captains are, of course, glad to welcome you as friends. They're glad to regale you with stories of their victories in the past couple of months and hear the stories of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very interested in whether or not you've taken some number of the enchanted arrows that they... Not enchanted arrows, but masterwork arrows that they gifted to you and use them to slay their bitter enemies, Zolog's butchers.
Raazu looks to Birdie.
Oh, Wendy has them, not me.
Oh, Wendy does? Oh.
I don't remember. Did we fight any of those yet?
No.
I don't think we've run afoul of Zolog's butchers in our travels yet.
Not for a long time.
They've been avoiding us since the last time we made a mess of them.
Actually, Raazu, the last time you saw any of Zolog's butchers, they had been completely mind-fucked by Griagro. And were serving as his...
Oh, right.
You guys installed an Illithid down there, and he started to make use of the surrounding orcs.
Yeah.
There's no way that can go bite us in the ass and go wrong ever.
That's the thing, though, is like it would have to go real bad to be worse than the orcs.
Raazu will simply say to them, "I believe that a very powerful boot is on Zolog's neck."
And
on their nuts.
They're delighted to hear this news. They don't have any reports of dragons or metal men throughout the spine. They have been focusing most of their attention on bolstering their defenses against the inevitable retaliation from the stone giant Taglith. To this end, they have started making alliances with some of the other thinking races out in the forest. There are centaurs and some fearbolgs and things out there. Instead of subjugating these peoples and bringing them into work, they're basically going around asking for protection money. Look, we're not going to raise your villages and take all of your resources, but in return, you can't work with this stone giant. You have to let us know if there's any evidence of giants in the area. So they've kind of subjugated these local peoples without actually enslaving them.
Yeah, and Wendy's thinking to herself, she's like, actually, I think this is best case scenario orcs.
Yeah. No,
I think this might not have gone as bad as I thought it was.
Like, I don't want these not bone weapons. It's like, I'm fixing to give them to the orcs, because I don't
Are
want
these
them.
the ones from the skeleton and the Underdark?
Yeah.
I've already got the daggers, so.
I know, like, Adrex just handed me 2 scimitars and 2 short swords, and I'm only 2.5 feet tall, so...
There are a number of goblinoids in the camp now. You guys left the Hobgoblin Forge Master here, and they've been using her to negotiate with these, quote-unquote, negotiate with these less intelligent goblinoids and letting them know it's to their best interest to work with these orcs. So they've taken in some of just the scattered goblinoids from the area as well. Yeah, things seem to be going pretty well here.
You can save those scimitars for that drow in my vision.
I'm thinking.
I don't really want to hold these. Like,
So how are we gonna go about finding this the drow on the other side of this conversation?
Well, I say we go talk to the dragon, deal with that problem first, and then we turn our attention to the north.
Okay.
Birdie, these orcs will buy those bone weapons from you if you don't want them. They're ornate looking weapons, and any orc would be happy to have them.
yeah, okay.
I wonder if they'd be willing to buy a human too.
No.
Do you ask them?
No.
No,
I do. I do.
No.
No, I don't. Because
We all have whips, Raazu.
Red will stab the fuck out of me for that. I know how that goes. I know better than that.
Do you tell them that you're going to be traveling to the west to meet with this red dragon, or is that not their business?
I don't see it as their business, personally.
Yeah, I don't think they need to know that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll sell the.
What the hell? I'll just say that our road takes us westward. That's it.
They caution you that there has been spotted out beyond their borders a larger than normal host of goblins. They don't think that these goblins are going to be striking into their territory, but it does seem strange that they would be massing up where they do, considering that those foothills are infested by kobolds.
Maybe hobgoblins are marshalling them.
Kobolds are not an infestation.
Tell a mountain that.
Raazu bites her tongue. But she does say that, yeah, maybe perhaps there's a force of hobgoblins that are marshalling them. That would be my guess.
And you're told, may your westward road bring you blood and glory.
Trapping of kobolds.
Any other business with these orcs for now?
I did sell I did get offload the extra bone weapons because I don't want them.
Okay.
Can I re-up on arrows here? I'm actually getting a little low.
And I was going to re-up on arrows as well.
Yeah, they're not going to part with any more of their masterwork arrows, but they've got plenty of just the standard stuff. They're happy to share their fletchings with you.
Let's see.
I mean, let's be real. What does Rolf actually bring to the table?
That's what we're trying to find out. Rolf, have you found anything that you're interested in yet?
Rolf doesn't like the idea of being in this place at all, because you're in an orc stronghold, and the only reason they haven't killed or enslaved him is because they're standing next to you.
Rolf, what do you want to do with your life? What is your 5-year goal? Your 5-year plan?
He looks back and forth and says, my life is yours, to do with as you will.
Oh,
okay. But there has to be something you want to do.
Do you want to learn how to fight? I'm good at teaching people how to throw things.
Buddy shakes his head violently no at Rolf.
No, it's true, though. He is pretty good at teaching people how to throw things.
Is that what you're going to start doing? Teaching him how to throw things?
If no one objects, turn him into a level 1 fighter or something. I don't know.
I mean, my opinion is we should drop him off at lesser hedgehog pastures while we're in the area.
That would probably be a good thing. Drop him off at one of the hedgehog pastures, and he can take the river down south and then travel and go to the thing at his leisure.
So he could travel through
farming?
goblin
Do you like farming?
territory. He's never farmed before. He's never been on a farm.
Would like to give it a try?
If it please you. Continuing west and entering into the foothills north of Leicester Hedgehog pastures, you do have a couple of just minor skirmishes with just small, like goblin scouts and maybe the odd bugbear in the area. There does seem to be a larger number of them in these foothills than Windy you would expect. Usually the goblinoids are much further south than this, where they're waging their wars. These lands, they've got kobolds to the west and orcs and fey monsters to the east. This is not typically goblin territory, so the larger number of them does give you some cause for alarm.
Do any of them give like a war cry as they attack us? Like maybe the name of their leader?
They do not. No, I mean,
damn.
These encounters are very brief. You either just kill them or chase them off.
How much EXP do we get?
0.
Oh damn.
I can make it lower than 0.
It's just a bad experience all around.
Who's doing the scouting as we're traveling?
Birdie, I guess.
Birdie. Coming into the foothills, in this kind of area here, as you're leaving the forests behind, the terrain gets rockier and rockier, and it becomes harder and harder to find paths to follow. There's a lot more climbing involved. You come over a ridge and look down into a small valley, and you see a rather, not large, but some number of goblinoids. You make a hobgoblin who's clearly the leader, this wearing black and gold plate armor. You see some lesser hobgoblins taking orders and keeping the rest of the camp in line. A pair of bugbears, and you're expecting to see tents pitch with goblins running around, but you only count 3 of them around this fire. This doesn't look like a war party. This looks like they've amassed for some other purpose. And as you watch from your hiding spot over the ridge, every so often, the lead hobgoblin will make a motion in your direction to your exact spot where you're sitting, as though giving orders to check this place.
Well, that is my cue to skidoo, sir.
Okay. You skidoo.
I skidoo.
Do you report back to the rest of us?
Yes, I'm going to describe the symbol to Raazu.
Yeah, do I recognize those colors?
Birdie describes the symbol he saw on this creature's shield, and immediately he's describing the horned face of Maglubiet.
Well, he's he's obviously one of the devout hosts. I don't really don't know what to make of it. I don't know why they're so far north.
Did you get a good look at him?
You got a good look, but it was from a pretty fair distance.
Like, so they were down in a canyon, you said?
In a wide valley. Like, they weren't trying to hide from anybody. But you put their number at the leader. 5 hobgoblins, 2 bugbears, and 3 goblins.
Oh, that's all?
That's all.
I would say that maybe there's some kind of scouting party, if that's the case. If the numbers are so few, because more scouting than actually than trying to conquer something.
So who are these people, Raazu?
Can we talk to them, or are they going to try to murder us? Like, that
depends. The only thing that I know is that if he's got that symbol in the Glubiette, then it could mean any number of things. Either he might be a paladin like myself.
Well, our experiences with paladins, hobgoblin paladins, they tell me that we probably should avoid them because they'll be very irritable.
Rosa takes a deep breath, and then takes her hand away from her whip, and then looks to the rest of the party and says, "It's up to you if you want to go and ruffle those guys' feathers." I mean, I'm not in any hurry to try and rekindle old ties with my people.
Like I did tell you guys that they did seem to see me, so they might be over, coming this way.
They never gave any indication they saw you. The leader was just gesturing in your direction. You're pretty sure it would be impossible for them to have seen you from this distance. Like they didn't make eye contact, but they seemed to gesture to where you were sitting.
Let's try to figure out what they're after. It can't hurt to know what's going on around here.
Agreed.
Well, do you want to just have some of us approach them and ask?
I mean, I feel like they'd be more inclined to talk to Raazu. Is that right, Raazu? Or they'd be more inclined to grab you with one of those whips and enslave you. Not sure how that works.
No. Well, they would probably ask me which unit I'm from, and that is an issue. That's a thorny issue. I don't want to talk about that. with hobgoblins.
Rolf doesn't say anything, but it's very clear from his body language and the expression on his face that his opinion is something like, let's not do anything. Let's just go all the way around them and not mess with this big group of goblins.
That actually sounds like a good idea to Birdie.
Big? Well, there are less than a dozen of them.
So what's next?
I would rather know what their intentions are in these lands, though.
Okay.
Why don't Adrex and Birdie and maybe Wendy go and see since Raazu coming up would cause uncomfortable questions.
Okay, Raazu, would they just enslave a bunch of people like Drow if they found them in the area, or what?
Not this small a group, most like.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with a lot of us well armed enough, they would probably it would give them pause, I would say.
I mean, if all else
am I on the right track, Burkwood?
Difficult to say. It depends on the tribe, depends on what their orders are. They might not be a member of a larger tribe. They might be a renegade group. They might be out to murder people. They might be here at the behest of the goblins in the hills. They might be rogue from the goblin. It could go any number of ways.
Okay, so here's how I see things. There's a bunch of hobgoblins here. We don't know what they're after. But we're thinking, well, if we go over there, they might just attack us and try to enslave us. If they do, I think they're after attacking and enslaving, and let's just kill them. If we go over there and they're willing to talk to us, then that shows they might be reasonable, and so we might not have an issue with them. But either way, I feel like we're heading towards what we want to accomplish.
Like, my idea is if they're up here in this hills, they're either looking to cause conflict with the dragon and the kobolds and dragonborn underneath him, or the monastery. One of the two. It's not really a good thing for anybody here.
The monastery would be very difficult for a goblin host to reach. Not impossible necessarily, but very, very difficult.
Which hex are we in right now?
You're in about this area here, give or take.
Okay.
Oh, so we went pretty wide of hedgehog pastures.
I mean, you can be headed in that direction right now. It's fine.
Well, if you guys want to go up and talk to them, I'll just, follow along, but you won't see me.
Do your red thing, huh?
Yes.
How do you approach this group of goblinoids?
Red's
I don't-
gonna stick to the underbrush and stay out of sight while the rest of the group goes up.
Okay.
Is Raazu coming up? Yeah. Okay,
Then I think
then Birdie's gonna hide too.
then I
It's a
think
31 on stealth.
you're hidden. I'm not the GM, but let me just say that for you.
So the two of you are like taking hiding positions near the ridge where you saw them.
I'm gonna follow our group when they go to talk to them.
Okay. You come back up to the ridge where Birdie saw the group the other day, and waiting there, looking terrified as he watches you approach, is this little goblin. And something is wrong with this goblin's body. Like, it looks contorted, like it looks like it has like a physical like birth defect, like a kind of a Quasimodo thing. He's hunched forward at what looks like a pained angle. And he's clutching this white flag in both shaking hands as you come. And he starts waving it vigorously as you approach. And he starts crying out in Goblin, "White flag! Parley! Parley! White flag!" over and over and over again.
Raazu smiles a little bit and was thinking, maybe you should probably get a white flag, but if
Do you think they heard of us?
Raazu smiles and says, "Okay, well, they're probably not gonna attack us on sight, so things are going good so far, Wendy."
So, we'll head over there, and Wendy will say, "What do you want to parlay about?"
And he's, "White flag! Parley! Parley! White flag! White flag!
Yes.
White
White flag parlay.
Yeah. Okay.
Butter parlay.
And looking down the ridge, you can see the rest of the company down in the valley. At this point, the leader stands in his armor, the Hobgoblin regiment directly behind him, the bugbears flanking on either side, and the other two goblins kind of skulking around in their cloaks.
All right,
All right, let's head over.
let's head down. Yeah.
You head down the ridge. Red and Birdie, if you're going to try to stay hidden, now's the time.
Yeah. I rolled a 21.
Okay. So you're
You
going
rolled
to
a
follow the
31.
group down without being seen?
Correct.
Still.
The rest of you, along with Rolf, come down. And the goblin, as soon as he's like within dashing distance, he runs on very pained legs. And you see this long flowing cloak is just trailing in the mud and the muck behind him as he makes all haste back to the safety of his group. The Hobgoblin, the leader of them, reaches to his back, takes out a large warhammer, clasps it down in each hand, and the edge of this warhammer just has this horrific screaming face embedded into it. And he says in the goblin language, after you all reach into a conversational distance, he says, "I mark you as Raazu, traitor to Maglubiets."
Raazu takes a deep breath through her nose.
What
You
do
don't
say?
respond?
I am Grodrin Raazu, champion of Osram.
He says that a host is waiting for you. You were expected on the fields of Acheron, and you did not report. He turns to the goblins and he gives out some just quick, sharp orders. Those of you who understand Goblinoid, what he's saying is, these are the exact locations of the Kobolds and the Yuan-ti. Train arrows on them. Two of these goblins throw their arms out, and this cloak they're wearing, you can see where it's stitched into their back deeply. And the cloak takes on the form of wings, and the goblins take flight. One flies to the position where Red is hiding, and though he can't see him because he rolled a crazy stealth, trains a bow and arrow in that area. The other goblin flies to where Birdie is located and does the same thing.
If the host demanded my presence, why not come in force? Why such a small group?
He says that Maglubiet has sent me to correct this error. Give you the opportunity of a good death, so that you may take your rightful place on his field. Do you accept?
I doubt I'd be accepted on his field as I am now.
Adrex, did that goblin just fly?
Like, I'm stealing that, whatever it was.
We can go ahead and place yourselves on this little path here while I start loading in other guys.
Which side are we on?
We'll put him in the middle here, and you guys are approaching from the other direction. You guys are approaching from the east over here.
No,
Oh.
other side.
Other
All right.
The other goblin.
One goblin's still skulking back here. One is in the air, trained on red.
So how are they flying?
They've got these cloaks stitched painfully into their backs.
Oh, I'm not stealing that.
And I mean, this is not a very delicate procedure. You can see where the wounds where this needle and thread went through are festering and discolored and causing great discomfort.
Are you sure? Because I've seen Adrex do some sewing. I'm sure he'd do a better job.
And Raazu asks, why would you send your minion under false pretenses of parley?
He asks if you would have rather him ambush you and your company in the middle of the night.
That wouldn't have happened.
Concede the point.
He asks if you accept. He barks it out again, and he's getting irritated with your evasions.
Osprey is with me.
He says, very well. And now we roll initiative.
What's the hobgoblin word for Hosprum?
Osprey, it's a loan word.
It's a
Oh,
loan
that's
word.
cheating.
Ooh, I rolled some initiative here.
You may think that. However, I think you will find that I rolled some initiative.
I mean, nobody rolls better initiative than you guys. That's clear. Like, I get it. But considering what their dex scores are, I'm surprised I didn't get any single digits.
No, sure, that's reasonable.
I decided not to show off this time.
You decided?
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if I need to move my number.
on 13. So
I'll just put him at 14, it's fine.
I'll just move my number anyway.
And Wendy, I mean, you listen to this conversation, and you already know, like, there's no way Raazu's going to say yes to this guy. So you definitely know there is bloodshed coming.
Yeah.
And you get to act first.
All right. I am
This
going
goblin and this goblin are flying about 20 feet in the air. You can see that they're kind of searching for Red and Birdie. It's clear that the leader knows where they are, but these goblins don't have his insight.
Yep, I think I'm going to pick these goblins out of the sky.
Okay.
Let's go with a sharpshooter shot.
Okay. Which one? North or south?
North.
Okay, he is outside of the range of your... Is
I
it...
thought I had 60 feet.
You do have 60 feet. Okay. I thought these were 10-foot squares. They're not. They're 5 foot.
Okay. That is a 15.
15 does not hit.
All right, let's go with another one.
Okay.
That's a crit.
A crit? That'll probably do it.
Are you sure?
Uh, 33 magical piercing.
Okay.
God. That poor
Yeah,
goblin.
Knock him out of the sky, and he crashes to the ground, having never even seen what hit him.
All right, and then I'm gonna take off into the air and flurry of blows this guy.
Okay.
That's a 14 and a very high number.
What's the very high number?
It is. Give me 1 second here. 25.
25 is a very high number.
Uh-huh.
14 though does not hit.
Bummer.
I know. That's 10 magical bludgeoning, and could you make me a con save?
4.
And he is stunned and falls out of the sky.
Okay. How much damage?
Mine was 10, and then I don't know how much damage that is. He fell.
He's 20 feet up. He'll take 2d6. But I need to know what you gave him first. Okay, yeah, you stun him, and he crashes to the ground with a shriek.
No, he doesn't. He's stunned. He can't talk.
He
It's
didn't
right there
talk.
in
He
the-
shrieked.
Oh, okay. My bad.
God damn it, Nodal. Don't you know the rules of this game yet?
Yeah,
moving
I
or
know.
staying
It's
put?
been like how many years?
Are we done with Windy? Is that it? Moving
Yeah.
on?
No, I can't do anything else. I can't action surge.
We are done with Windy.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Whenever he moves his character like that, I picture like a big turtle like just loping across the battlefield.
I think he's just jumping. Like he's hopscotching
he's
across.
hopping. And
2 times 5.
no, I want to hold there for now. Sorry. What weapons do these guys have?
The leader
Yeah.
is carrying his gargantuan warhammer.
Okay.
Sorry.
Each of the goblins
Yeah.
is equipped with a longsword and longbow. The bugbears have a morning star and some number of javelins. The goblins are equipped with short bows.
All right.
Yeah.
3. Action to move. And whisper bonus action. And let's ignite this bad boy
What's the
on
magic word?
fire. Haven't come up with one yet.
Flame on.
Then I guess you don't, do you?
All right.
So you
Got it.
ignite your dagger. And
Sword.
Okay, sorry. And is that the end of Adrex's turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's a dagger in size.
So, thank you for clumping all these guys together.
It's not your
But
turn.
not putting Adrex in there.
We're on 15 here, brother.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the black guy there. Okay. My bad. Continue.
So racist.
A little racist there, yeah.
That's the Hobgoblin Paladin.
Yeah, he takes up position directly in front of Raazu, and he wields his warhammer.
Wait, did you say he's a paladin?
Raazu
So he
said
takes
he's a
up position, removing everyone else from his saves.
paladin. Now Birdie can take a turn.
Yeah, okay.
He's the-
He turns around, he's just like, wait, what?
1, 2, 3, 4.
I will draw this for you.
Please.
These goblins are not like
Just
No.
don't put Adrix
people
in
to
it.
him. They're
There
just
you go.
tools.
There you go. That's fine. That's perfect. Boom. That's all my blips.
Okay. That's all
A
your
job
bullets.
well done. That's all of my blips. But I don't care. It was worth it. I haven't done that in a while. And this
That
time,
was last night.
Well, I mean, you guys have. It's been a couple weeks in World.
Yeah.
He craves it.
but this time I was kind enough. Like this is like easy math. Like there's no friendly targets in there. Just all those juice. Yeah. So, all right. And I'm going to cunning action disengage.
You don't have
And
to.
Birdie,
all right, he's not. Huh?
He's done.
Yeah.
Birdie, you
Yeah.
cast the spell, and you see the darkness begin to congeal around the hobgoblins. The middle hobgoblin here, very quickly, he glances around to see if he can see the caster, and failing to do that because you're hiding, drops his weapon to the ground, grabs something out of his pouch, speaks a word, and the spell dissipates. Having done that, he immediately gets blasted by whatever is being held in his hand and knocked to the ground in great agony.
Is he prone or just that just flavor text for damage?
No, he's prone. He's both.
Okay.
Because he failed his own save.
Okay, fine. In that case, I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess I'll cunning action dash 6, 7, 8, 9, and then get here.
Okay. And you find Rolf like hunkered down behind this tree.
I wave at him and then get ready to assist Raazu.
Man, they didn't even send a kobold after him. Poor guy. Or sorry, I thought they were flying kobolds. A goblin.
Speaking of goblins, he can make it to this tree. And then he'll fire his short bow at Adrex. Oh, I'm sorry, he can fire twice. Adrex.
Yeah.
I have a 22.
Just hits.
And a 22.
Just hits.
Nine points from the first arrow.
Mm-hmm.
6 points from the second arrow.
Okay.
Windy.
Yeah.
This goblin here that you knocked out of the air, he's scrambling for something on his person, and you see him pull out of a potion and drink it.
To be clear, he's stunned. Did he have some way of getting out of that?
Oh, he is stunned. No, he doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
He can't even poop himself.
Yeah.
This guy fires 2 arrows at Adrex, and that's going to bring us to Mr. Red, who is still hidden at this point.
As a bonus action, I'm going to apply a dose of grung skin poison to an arrow,
Okay.
and I'm going to shoot this guy.
And I hope you remember what all this does, because I've been trusting you to keep track.
That one I don't have. That's the only one I don't have written down.
I gotta look up the grungs in my book then.
Sorry, I have all the others written down, but not that one. That'll hit an armor class of 17.
17 will hit.
He gets real grunged up. Grung him up bad.
I think it's just a little bit of extra poison damage, actually.
17 from the bow and the sneak attack. And yeah, the only thing I have written down is contact or injury.
Yeah, it's either or. I can just look up grung in the book here real quick, because it's literally just their ability.
Every time you say grung, I hate it more.
I didn't even make up the word grung.
Thanks, I hate it.
And I'll write this down this time. I've
They
organized
make
my poisons a little bit better since then.
DC 12 Constitution save, or they take 2d4 poison damage. So how much from the sneak attack?
17.
17. Okay.
And then con save.
Which he rolls a 2.
That poor goblin.
So I got 2d4 poison.
2d4 poison damage.
And that's the end. Oh, I'm going to move. But the end of Red's turn after that. 6 poison damage.
6 points.
These guys are supposed to drag Raazu to Acheron, and you're all like, that poor goblin.
I didn't say anything about poor goblin.
And then
No,
you're
let's talk
moving?
about Treble.
That's the end of Red's turn.
That's the end of Red's turn. Okay. Oops. I didn't mean to open up the menu there. That's going to bring us to Hobgobbers.
Hobgoblins.
This one
Hobgoblins.
does not move. He's on the ground still wincing in pain. You see he's having difficulty collecting himself. The rest of these guys have no such difficulty surrounding Adrex. This is what you wanted, though, right?
Yeah.
Adrex has them right where he wants them. They got to get close for him to use his flaming sword.
Oh, Adrex, you prepare to take a lot of damage here.
For goblins,
doesn't
aren't
take
they?
damage.
They're hobgoblins.
Oh, okay, they're hobgoblins.
Yeah, they're tougher
They
than
might-
goblins.
They might take a, yeah,
So you're gonna take some hob damage.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra damage they can deal.
Oh, you're gonna kill me after I finally get my.
I got
Well,
I got a 12 to hit.
It's a miss.
I got a 14 to hit.
It's a miss.
I got a 9 to hit.
That's a miss.
And I got a 22 to hit.
Just hits.
Okay.
now that you have your sword, you can finally die.
All of Adrex's goals have been met.
"20 points of slashing damage as this hobgoblin brings his sword on you, and rallied on by his allies in close proximity, it cuts deep.
Hey guys, these hurt. Ow.
And the rest of them missed. It's going to bring us to Raazu at long last.
At long last.
Oh, I didn't skip my bugbears, did I? No, they're just...
What
really-
is that? The orange pawns?
Yes.
Yeah. Raazu is going to close with this guy.